all product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. We all product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Hard Luck Show. I'm your certified, qualified West Side host, Steve Lucky Luciano. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you've tuned in to the greatest show on earth. It's the Hard Luck Show. Sitting across from me, my partner, co-host, is Chumahan, Bowen, American Indian, Southern Californian, elegant barbarian. Here to remind everybody that this country was once Indian. Yeah, we're gonna take that shit back. All right. Wow. That's some stripped down Sioux shit right there.
Hell yeah.
Hey, man, you better act right when this music comes on. That's right. Right? You better act right. Old Blue Eyes with a twinkle in his eye on sound.
Sean Lewis, certified audio professional, engineer for the Hard Luck Show.
Oh, yeah. Who is that?
Come on. It's Ghetto Boys.
Ghetto Boys, that's it.
Ghetto Boys and some stripped down Sioux Indian shit.
This shit right here.
Move along to the next trick.
That's good.
I mean, where else are you going to hear a mix between fucking American Indian shit and the Ghetto Boys? What other show?
I love that shit right there.
What other show would do that? What other show?
The Hard Luck Show. Yeah. Now, who's that?
Sean, you're the music man. You're sound engineer.
Who's that?
Come on. If you don't know what that is, there's going to be penalties.
There's the hell to pay.
Penalties to pay. The American Indian way will hold your head over a small flame and slowly cook your brain.
Well, we also have another guest.
Do we?
Yep. He's going to tell us a little about... You know what? I want you to first tell us a little bit about why this is your intro song.
Why is this your intro song, Mr. Guest?
Oh, well. I guess we'd have to go all the way back up to Juneau, Alaska, where I was born. This is Jim Pepper, and my dad went up into Alaska. I believe he lived in Pelican, which is southeast Alaska, close to Juneau. And he went up to go fishing. Jim Pepper is the musician who was one of his running buddies. And they went up there in the 60s to hang out, kind of be free, fucking chop wood, live off the land, live off the ocean up there. And that's where I ended up being born, in Juneau, Alaska, in 1972. Elias Seneca Whitecrow of the Seneca Cayuga tribe.
Right on.
Yeah.
Red power. Red power.
Yes, sir. All day in the house.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
Wait a second. I'm listening to this and I'm hearing piano and saxophone.
Yeah.
What was Jim Pepper playing?
Jim Pepper, I believe he was the saxophone player.
And your dad?
And my dad was, I think my dad was into saxophone and might have played at some point. I had a weird relationship with my dad, who just recently passed away, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
August 6th was my birthday. And he died 23 minutes into the next day. So on August 7th, he was suffering from diabetes. They went to go chop off his right leg, and then his heart just couldn't
Couldn't take it.
Yeah, couldn't take it. So it took about a month for him to go, but he finally did. So that was tough. And then so this song gives me, makes me
a lot of heart.
Yeah, I guess when he met my mom, this was Wichita Toe was a song that they played when I was younger. So it has like some.
You grew up, it has deep meaning.
Yes, sir.
It's like Wichita Toe by Jim Pepper. You can go on Spotify and get the album. It's called The Path. It's interesting. It seems like it's a mix of jazz and Native American.
Exactly, yeah. He was super, I think he was from the Oregon area where my dad originally came from Oklahoma.
You might be related to some of these people, bro.
I know I am, dude. But listen to just listen for a second. This is interesting. Have you ever heard American Indian in jazz?
Nah, that's what it is. It's dope.
I thought maybe from the title of it. I was like, is that?
That's just fucking cool, man.
That's really cool.
You know, jazz might actually be.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah. There's somebody that covers it too. These two guys, I forget what their names were, and they covered the song, and that's even a real cool version also.
So we were talking outside, and
Wait, Sean looks like he's trying to say something.
oh, Sean, you trying to say something?
What
you trying to say, man? What?
Sean rarely says anything, so when
Say
he
something.
does say something,
When I get close to the mic,
Yeah.
oh, what's he gonna say?
Yeah.
I say we still haven't introduced our guest.
But that's what we're about
Yeah,
to do.
yeah,
That's why
yeah.
you shouldn't have
All
said
right,
anything.
all right, never mind. Go
motherfucker.
back.
Your next first
No, I
fucking
was gonna
thought.
say something else.
Oh, what's the
about
thing?
jazz?
Well, then
What?
say
Say
it. Motherfucker.
Yeah, why are you stringing it out?
I was on the way over. I was listening to a story about this Ethiopian restaurant that started playing jazz. They didn't even know the two people that opened didn't even know what jazz was.
Yeah.
And they opened this restaurant. They're going through some troubled times due to COVID and all that stuff.
Okay.
So they invited some jazz players to come in and play jazz. This place that was there before had played jazz.
Okay.
And so they learned to love jazz because of this. But I was just thinking about...
Is this place in Culver City?
No, it's in New York.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even in L.A.? So wait, where's the story going? Tell us where the story's going.
The story goes... I'm just... Never mind.
No, come on. Don't do the never mind shit.
He always does that shit.
Yeah. It's something about...
That's not even me. That's the unnamed guest. No, so go. Listen, please.
Listen,
wait.
let's get-
Wait. I just want to get to this point. Sean, what was the point of that
The
story?
point was that, jazz really inspires you to, it can grab you. You see somebody playing jazz and someone like riffing off of somebody else and getting into that. There's no denying
then?
that. There's no, you feel that. You can
Yeah,
feel
we
it.
all know that, bro. That's what we're talking about.
Look
man.
at his face, dude.
Okay.
All right, no, but
I thought there was getting to some point other than the obvious.
no, I thought he was gonna add something.
Isn't that based off the Pythagoras theory?
Dude, I think it's based off of the part cyborg human machine unable to tap into his feelings.
Keyboard in your brain.
His face.
Yeah, dude.
Dude,
Yeah, we're going to replay it for you, let you listen to it, and you'll come to the same conclusion
Look
we
at that
did.
face. That's the face I look at when I'm busting his balls a little
You know
bit.
what?
He gets really pissed.
Yeah,
Like, he's
keep
like,
the camera on him, because he did all that for some attention.
nah.
He's not getting enough camera.
Look,
Give this guy some more
No.
camera time.
He's
Keep
gonna
that thing
listen.
right
I
there.
know Sean, and he's gonna say
Big Sean.
He's gonna say
Blue
it
eyes.
wasn't for attention.
No,
right
no,
now,
it
he's
wasn't.
having a
I know
feeling.
it
No,
wasn't.
he's gonna say that. I don't know what it was for. Nobody
I know.
knows. That's a mystery of the universe. And he's got a feeling in his heart right now. Was like, "Fuck you all, fuck you all." Right?
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, don't
That's
be
fine.
like that.
I love you.
Come
even
on.
if you're like that.
Listen, the point is somewhat similar to that. Jazz is inspirational, and you really can't deny it because it's a true human feeling, right?
Right.
Okay, that's all. That's it. And that might be modern music's closest cousin or affiliation to what it would have been like to be an American Indian pre-Columbus making music just because.
Absolutely.
All right. Now that we've closed that loop together.
Listen, we were outside talking, and I was running late today for you guys.
Were you?
Yeah.
Why were you running late?
Because I was outside talking. And, I got caught up in the mix. And anyways, me and my guests, I get people that tell me, do you want me to introduce you as Lucky, as Steve, as Big? I'm like, okay. So we had a conversation outside, me and you, and we talked about kind of like Black Gassos, names that we got, and how we, So I need you to give us your artistic name, your government name. Go ahead.
Sweet, yeah.
Your government name is Sweet Sweet Yeah?
Sweet, yeah.
Sweet Sweet Yeah.
Sweet, yeah.
In the house.
In the house.
You got to include Indian name too.
So, I guess I'll pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
I was up in Alaska, born to Isaac Enyart and Megan Anderson. And I was born Elias Seneca White Crow. Elias is because there's a mountain up there called Mount St. Elias.
Okay.
And I have a sister that was named after a mountain called Fairweather. Those mountains are kind of right next to each other. That was my dad's fucking crazy hippie thoughts. And I guess, I was born up there and was there for about 7 years. Mom and dad didn't get along. My dad ended up kidnapping me, actually, at about 7 years old. He grabbed me out of a window where I lived at this, right where some train tracks were. I was counting the trains going by, and all of a sudden I turn and I see my dad running at me, grabs me, and takes off with me for maybe a couple days. My mom had gotten into a religion called Sikhism. Sikhism
With the turbans.
correct.
Yeah.
Sikhism.
Yeah, my wife practices Sikhism.
Oh, really?
SIKH.
Correct.
Right. Sikhism.
Correct.
That big
So-
church on Robertson.
So AKA Elias White Crow, AKA Siri Singh Khalsa, because my mom got into that religion. Her name became Satguru Khalsa. And
Satguru.
Satguru. yeah.
Satguru.
And my sister became Siri Kar Khalsa. All the women share the last name Kar. All the men share Singh. Khalsa is the familial name, right? So this dude Yogi Bhajan came to the States. He's the one that kind of introduced the religion that comes from India to America.
Yeah.
That has a story that brings it to this modern day. If you
Who
ahead.
the lineage of what's his name? Yogi Bhajan is in some serious shit right now.
shit now, yeah.
Why?
So-
What's the shit?
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
What I'll tell you from my vantage point. Well,
Wait. Just I want to check in real quick. I just want to check. Have we actually gotten the name of the guest yet?
hold on,
Not yet.
it's coming.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
working on it. So, born Elias, have to become Siri Singh Khalsa because of this Sikh religion.
Right.
Kidnapped by my dad. Some other shit happened in the neighborhood some shit happened. So I was having a difficult time, and I think my mom was having a difficult time finding herself because she was in this religion. And I ended up getting shot down to Espanola, New Mexico. They have a Sikh compound down there.
Wait, from Alaska
From Alaska.
to New Mexico.
By myself, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
My mom stayed up there with my sister. My sister later joined me maybe
How
half
old
a
are
year
you?
later.
How old are you at the
7 years old.
7 years old,
Yes,
you
sir.
leave the people you know, and now you're with strangers in New Mexico. Is
Yes,
that about
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So I lived there for about a year and a half. I lived with some other Sikh families, and they have I don't think they were even double wides; they were single wides. Lots of single wides all around. I then, at that time, Yogi Bhajan.
Did you meet him?
I did, yeah. He named me.
Oh, wow.
Siri Singh Khalsa comes from him. He named, and Siri Kar Khalsa comes because that's my sister.
Wait a second.
Right.
Yogi Bhajan?
Bhajan.
Yogi Bhajan.
Yogi
Yogi
Bhajan.
But
Bhajan.
he's no relation to the fashion guy Bhajan.
No.
Okay.
No, Bhajan is Bhajan, not Bijon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yogi Bhajan.
Yogi
And what did
Bhajan.
he look like?
You'd have to look him up. You could look him up.
But I mean,
He's just a Sikh guy. All Sikhs have beards. All
like a
Sikhs
big
wear
long
turbans.
beard,
Yeah.
giant turban. Was it like a white turban?
Multicolored.
And was he like in robes and shit?
It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey.
So living in New Mexico for a couple years, or a year and a half or so, and Yogi Bhajan ends up getting a lot of his students, which my mom was one of them, to send their kids off to India. So from Espanola, New Mexico, I would go all the way to India in 1981.
Before it was cool.
Way before it was cool.
Right? Before all the white people went to India.
If you look up near Nepal, there's a little place called Mussoorie. You'll see it right on the map.
Shut the fuck up. You went to Mussoorie?
Mussoorie.
I've been in Mussoorie.
Really?
And I got sick in Mussoorie. It's in the Himalayas.
Yeah. So
Holy fucking shit.
I went to
You see that?
You Indians be traveling, bro.
But see, like, we're American Indians traveling to India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
So feather and dot.
Right.
Just rolling.
Right.
Yeah,
We ain't
deep.
even tripping. Like, if you have to stop and ask that question, you're too slow. Get the
Correct.
fuck out the way. We got shit to do.
Yeah.
No
So
shit.
so that took me. That was 81. I ended up being there probably till like 80 for 4 years. So from when I was 9 years old to maybe about 13, 14 years old, I ended up coming back to America.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Let's just. So you were in India for how many years?
4 years.
And were you studying at like an ashram or a temple?
There's a school called Guru Nanak 5th Centenary School.
What did they teach you?
It was
there?
an English boarding school, which if everybody knows about, what happened out there.
Yeah.
So the English still have a very big,
England conquered them and took their shit and then tried to change their society and pay the queen and all that bullshit.
Yeah. So
you're at a
so I
boarding
went
school.
to-
But
yep.
did you learn any also Indian religion stuff there?
Oh yeah. No, I was fully
Did you know like about chakras and meditation?
hold on.
Oh.
We would wake up, we would do sadhana is a morning routine that you wake up and you do stretching and meditation. So
Wow.
as a young kid, I was practicing that.
Wow. What did
It got a little bit weird when it went to India. Again, the religion in itself, Sikhism is a beautiful religion.
Right.
Yogi Bhajan is not. It's ending up being the greatest hero these days because a lot of the shit that he put myself through. So he also put a lot of other women through a lot of bullshit because
Right.
he touched them and he had sex with his secretaries and he was married and he had a kid. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
like
I
one of
mean,
those,
it's
like-
taken on the same
like a
tone.
Bikram yoga bullshit.
It's taken on the same tone as we all know.
Right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
what- that's-
But
one
the
of my-
argument to everybody is, hey man, Sikh religion, like there's dudes that you'll meet, Sikhs, they don't even know who Yogi Bhajan is.
Real Sikhs.
Real Sikhs are like, who? And like he just used the religion to get and gain
Notoriety here.
notoriety.
Wait,
Well,
look
this
at
guy
the-
was driving like a Rolls Royce
Yep.
around.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
rings, full of rings, all that shit.
Like Liberace.
Correct. And so
A Sikh Liberace.
cool, whatever you want to call him. Look him up and look up there's tons of shit going on. I was supposed to be on a call where they were recording it because
That was last night.
this was a while ago.
Oh, okay.
Another one, but
My wife was on the call last night.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
So there's investigations into the whole thing, and they really want to out. There's people that really want to out this motherfucker.
Okay,
That's
so
basically
I
what's
just
going
want to
on.
put a little note in here for all of us.
Yes, sir.
Right. So if there's any legal proceedings, all of us right now are talking based on opinion or speculation. No one knows anything for certain.
For sure.
Okay.
Alleged.
Alleged, right?
Yep.
Everything is alleged, so don't
Yep.
try and. Okay. I'm an attorney, motherfucker, so don't try to pull that bullshit on us. Next is the next is I also want to say, like, if we make any comments about, I just want this to go because everybody understands this. True Sikh religion or true religions in their purest form or spiritual whatevers are always going to have a bunch of motherfuckers that are using it for the wrong purpose.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that when we are talking shit about those dudes, we are not really saying anything about the actual pure form or essence of the spirituality.
Correct.
All right. Now, having said that, one of my theories is that a lot of religion, as we experience it right now, I really think at the end of the day, even though they don't talk about it that much, it's really about sex. It's really about sex. I don't care if you're looking at a Christian situation, a Muslim situation, or whatever situation, even Buddhist situation, right? As Noah Levine let us know, right? Levine? Is it Noah? Is it Levine?
It's actually money, sex, power. It's the same shit that you hear in the rap videos. It's
Right,
money, sex,
but-
power.
but
First
my-
you get the money, then you get the sex, then you get the power. So I mean,
But
it's,
it, okay.
it's the same
But-
overtones.
It is, but okay, in that triad, in the holy trinity of money, sex, and power, right? I'm saying sex is really the primary one. Just like in Christian, it's like, well, okay, Jesus is really the
Right,
primary.
right.
It's really about sex because eventually you hear about like Bikram or whoever else, and they're like in the back, doing naked push-ups on top of their people, telling them, well, this is going to cure you. Even the Catholics.
Yeah.
So how come? So it's really about sex. I mean, really, and you get down to it, unless you're trying to liberate yourself on an individual basis, and you're like, I am trying to discipline myself and transcend this bullshit.
Right.
But if you're following like a Jerry Falwell Jr., right, evangelical guy who goes around and tells everyone how they should be sleeping with people, is not gonna fucking vote for gay marriage, and then later he's taking pictures with his pants undone and shit like that, and trying to stay as the head of a fucking Christian university.
Let's not get lost.
All right. Anyway, okay, so go ahead. Back to
Travel Town.
Missouri, right? Missouri,
Back to Travel Town.
Missouri, 4 years. Okay, so then.
So
what
I'm
happened?
trying to. I'm gonna in a second. I'm gonna catch you up to where and how I met Lucky.
Yes.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
All right. India was a fucking hectic thing.
Yeah.
India, I had to endure a lot of caning.
No shit.
And physical abuse, mental abuse, all that type of shit.
At the hands of Yogi Bhajan?
No, Yogi Bhajan wasn't there. I mean, I didn't go out there with my mom, just to be clear. Right. You know what I mean? I went there out with a bunch of, like, me and my sister went in 81. I lived with her at the girls' school because I was in third grade. And up to third grade, kindergarten to third grade, you'd be at the girls' school. And then you'd go around the hill, there was the boys' school. Fourth grade to like seventh grade, I was there maybe. And mom was out here. She was getting married to another guy that Yogi Bhajan was hooking her up with.
Right.
So she would come out and visit us. But basically we were on our own, And, so, I mean, we lived, if you guys know where the Golden Temple is. You guys are familiar with the
Pico and
Golden
Robertson?
No, Golden Temple. Oh. The one in India.
Oh, yeah.
In Amritsar, the real Golden Temple. I lived right next to behind the Golden Temple in the Akal Tucket.
Oh, wow.
From Alaska via New Mexico, then India.
Yep, sir. Yep.
What did that do to your sense of, like, I mean, how did that affect you?
I mean, I think I had a pretty unique experience beyond a lot of different people's stuff, And I mean, so. I think it gave me character. I think it gave me a lot of, good. It's good stories to tell because I lived a whole life before I came to LA, and I kind of became something that I had started to see in the magazines. I started looking at Thrasher magazine, Trans World magazine. We would see two kids had skateboards, so we started skating out there. Right. I'd have to write my mom and tell her to send me a skateboard. We skate. Like I said, shit was going weird and all that shit. And I ended up kind of, I took a scrub brush to this kid's face, and that was like, that was like the end all be all, because I had done a lot of other stupid shit and just gotten into it with. I was done. I was done with India. India was done with me. I was asked to go home. I was asked to not be at that school anymore.
Man, you gotta be pretty fucking hardcore to get kicked out of India.
Yeah. So that's what it was. That shot me back to America. I went to Albuquerque for a half a year. Got to LA probably 86, 87-ish.
Yeah.
I got to start skating in the streets. I got to start seeing what I was seeing in Thrasher magazine. I got to see the gang graffiti. I got to go to Venice Beach and see all the Dogtown Z-boys fucking skating. I got to see, like dudes that like Christian Asoy, just different. And I was like, whoa, this is overload. I fucking...
Culture.
I went to New Mexico and some guy gave me a tape of the Chili Peppers. I end up in LA dating. My first girlfriend was the goddaughter of Lindy Getz, who was the manager of the Chili Peppers. I was going to Chili Peppers concerts for free and
How
hanging
old
out
were
in the young, 16, 17 years old.
Just tell us.
I ended up being in Hollywood, and it was like the fucking mecca for life at that point.
Yeah.
And Hollywood Boulevard was still cracking. There was still cruising.
Sunset was all like rock and roll club.
Yeah, you couldn't sag in the streets without getting hit up. It wasn't a style. It was like you had to be a gangster to get to sag.
Right,
that was legit shit.
But okay,
You know,
Okay.
and
16 years old at the Chili Peppers concerts for
16,
free.
17, yeah.
Yeah, what's that like? So, are you in the front row? Are the chicks topless? Is there plenty of food? Do you run backstage? Are you fucking?
It's just a euphoric feeling when you're at the hotel and then they're sitting across from you and Lindy's like, "Hey, how you doing?" You're eating with people that you were looking at. You were like, dun it, and then I was watching thrashing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I was seeing thrashing. I think I was in New Mexico or getting here. I was seeing thrashing and I was like, oh my God, like everything I'm seeing is right in
Happening.
front of me right
Yeah.
now.
What
You
don't
know?
people understand about Flea?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not. Yeah, I don't have a good. I love their music. I didn't have that much interaction with them themselves. It was just a trip for that to be again in front of me because I never thought that would happen.
Awesome.
Being that I was born in Alaska, I was like
Right.
all of a sudden seeing the world, and then I was like seeing something that I wanted to really be part of, and then I ended up there in Los Angeles.
Did that substantiate any of the spiritual teachings you had learned? Because you had focused on thrashing, you'd focused on this culture in California, and here it was manifesting itself in front of you. Did that support that?
Well, what was supported was that I was pissed off. I didn't have my dad around. 'Cause
Right.
My dad and my mom had separated. Obviously, he tried to kidnap me. He got me back to my mom, obviously. Otherwise, the story wouldn't end up the way it did. But he tried very much to get a hold of me throughout the years. Probably could have tried harder. But we ended up meeting each other later on in 97. But I still, in early 90s, I was a pissed off, or late 80s, I was a pissed off kid. And my boy Axis, who's one of my oldest friends, or my oldest friend actually, we skated together and he was getting into graffiti. So he said, hey, you should start doing this thing that we're doing. And I was like, huh, what? I was like, graffiti? And I was like, oh shit, that's the shit in the magazines that I see. He's like, yeah, you choose a name and then like you go out there and you fucking strike up and you try to make a name for yourself.
Right.
I was like, all right, cool. I was like, let me figure it out. Let me see, what do I write? All right, sad boy. You know what I mean? Pretty typical because I was going through an emotional time. Sad boy, wrote it for a little bit, did it in the alleyways, stole my first Magnum marker from Standard Brands. You know what I mean? Went around, tagged on shit. And I was like, nah. I was like, you know what? Derelict. And like kind of had a gang style, kind of looking at what I was seeing in the magazines, but also now seeing in real life. And I was like, Derelict, wrote that for a little while. I was like,
What was wrong with Derelict?
the lettering, I don't know. It just didn't vibe. But then like one night I was going out and hanging out, like going to Westwood, hanging out with Axis and all his friends, starting to party, drink, smoke, whatever, right? And I'm getting into it a lot with my mom, who has the stepdad there. Stepdad's always trying to step in, but he's fucking lame. And I'm in an argument with my mom, and she's like, you make me so angry sometimes, you know? And I was like, oh, anger. I was like, yeah, that's a good name. I was like, and it's aggressive name, you know what I mean? And it's something you can...
Because this gentleman I know is Anger from CBS Crew.
Yeah.
You Can't Be Stopped Crew. This guy's a graffiti legend in Hollywood.
Thank you.
And his name was Anger. So I'm getting to hear this story about this guy that I don't know your history like that, about your childhood and stuff. And I know you're a certain person. As this build, it all begins to make sense.
You know what? You make me so angry.
Anger.
And then you look at the young man's face, and a light bulb goes off, right?
Yes, sir. So yeah, I mean, I kind of rolled with that name for for the remainder of the 80s into the 90s.
I think Anger, that's a fucking great name. I mean, Steve, you're a fucking label guy. You know shit.
Hey, bro, yeah, but that name, it is a great name for, like you said, aggressive, and I get it. Because I don't remember this guy running around was angry.
Right.
But he really was. Like, if you saw him, he just angry, bro. There was something up with him.
So he
was angry about shit, dude. He always be. I remember, like, even when I had the shop on Melrose, man. You know, I was selling fucking a lot of weed out of that fucking
Wasted
place.
Youth.
No. This is long before that.
Supermax.
And I'd have different friends or whatever, and there'd be so many different times where we were standing out front. And some shit would kick off on Melrose, bro. And these guys would be running this way, getting chased that way. And this is always in the fucking mix with all these guys. And I'm talking about this back when, like, Skate and Risky and, like, everybody was around, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And there'd always be some shit, bro. And there'd always be some shit on Melrose. And they'd be in the middle of it. And I just remember that. I remember a couple times, a couple, I don't think it was you, but some of the cats came running into the store.
Yeah.
Dude, they were saying something about this dude, like a strap or something, right?
Oh, right.
And I'm like, go in the back, man. And they went in the back, and dudes never showed up. I never saw them, but they stayed in the back for a little while, you know?
Oh,
but
shit.
we wasn't going to let these fools get shot in the neighborhood. We're like, make it in here, man. We're gonna hide in the back. But he was always in some shit, bro, this dude. And
so it wasn't one of those situations where it was like, in private, he was like calm and just chilling and, maybe reading a fucking mystery novel. It was like legitimately this dude was angry.
This is This is how I see it.
Go ahead.
If I were to look at it like in a neighborhood sense, there's always somebody who's out to prove a point.
Right.
There's always some hothead that can't control his shit, right?
Yeah.
And he stands out. That was this guy. He's the one that's like, let some shit jump off because I want to you know what I'm saying? One of those guys. So he was like
Navy SEAL of the neighborhood.
So he was. So that name, back to the name Anger, I can only think of one person is him because it was like, that was him, and he wrote that on the walls. And these guys weren't always. It wasn't. Let me put it like this: it wasn't always bullshit. These dudes were a crew of guys that were creatively killing it.
Yeah,
dude, that whole Fairfax area.
Yeah,
Fairfax High, all that shit. Melrose was all their whole domain.
Right.
So these dudes on a daily basis were like living their lives in and out of Melrose and on and off Melrose in different spots and like intertwined. So this was the art collective in that area.
Yeah.
So much so that like one of their stronger artists, Mir, painted the inside of the Supermax store.
Right.
And these dudes, rest in peace, Skate, and man, it was like rest in peace, Risky, and a lot of these guys.
No, not Risky.
I mean, not Risky. I'm sorry. Rival. Excuse me. Yeah. Rest in peace.
Not yet, Kelly. It's coming soon, though.
No. God forbid.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Yeah, you're a fucking wood too.
Hey, knock on wood.
Fuck, man.
Hey, because I was thinking about it, because I was like, Derelict is actually an interesting name, right? It's got a subversive aspect to it, but it's a lot of fucking letters.
It is. Yeah.
So does that also play into, like, when you're thinking about a name, do you think about, like, well, how long do I need to sit there to put out the letters before I can then
If you're doing illegal shit, you want a shorter name. You want 3 letters.
Right.
2 letters would be great, but you're usually going to have a 3 to 4 letter name.
Right.
And then, I mean, as you start to grow, or graffiti starts to grow onto you, you're okay with having 5 letters because a wall, you're doing pieces. You know what I mean? You're not going out fucking doing illegal shit all the time anymore.
What do people don't understand about that transition? So at one point, nobody gives a shit who you are, and they're pissed off that you're fucking making marks on their property.
Right.
You're through that phase, and if you can survive that phase, then you go into, people still don't, the quote-unquote establishment doesn't want you to do it still yet. You're starting to get a following and a respect.
Yeah.
And then there's another phase where now you're being accepted by a larger group as like, no, well, he's an artist.
Yeah.
What don't people understand about that transition?
It's pretty easy. You got to outlast everybody.
How is that done?
perseverance, doing it, making it a mantra in your life. Like there's not a year that goes by that I don't do graffiti. You know what I mean? I have spray paint around me all the time. I have spray paint. I have, at one point I had 1,000 cans in my garage just to paint with. I was selling spray paint, but at that point I wasn't selling anymore. And I was just like, oh, I'll use it. And every weekend I'm going and I'm using up 20, 30 cans on a wall, and
when you sell spray paint, why would a graffiti artist or a writer, why would a writer sell spray paint to anyone? Like, what is that?
Why would a soldier need bullets?
Right. But why would they come to a writer for the spray paint? Do they want to say, I bought it from...
Because a trusted source.
Right.
It's better than going to Blick. You're just going in and then, Mona is helping you with your paint. And Mona doesn't know anything about paint. People come to me that I use the spray paint that I use.
Yeah.
They want that spray paint because they know I'm using it. And so, I must know how to use it well, or it's good spray paint, or both.
So then, did any spray paint companies ever say, fuck, Anger, can you, get in this ad? I want Anger, and I want Anger holding up fucking bear.
Sure. No, it's a huge multi-million-dollar business. Spray paint by itself is made just a couple years ago, going back to Ike, my dad.
Yeah.
I started a company called Ike's Tug and Supply. My dad was a tugboat captain. That's why I was up in Alaska. So Tug and Supply. The supply part was spray paint, graffiti supplies. That I became a West Coast distributor for Cobra Paint. Cobra Paint is brought into Miami via somewhere in Italy near Milan, but not Milan. Bologna?
Yeah,
or something
Bologna.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's made out there.
Which is where the first Western-style university was ever created, was in Bologna, and that's also the fountain of the Trident of Neptune. In Bologna is the Trident that's used in Maserati. Go ahead.
Nice. Hell yeah, man.
Nice.
I like that.
Thank you.
Really nice.
But
really well done.
So basically that, like I started selling spray paint in 2003, and in 2017 I started my own company distributing spray paint across America, because for me spray paint is like bullets. I have to have it around me.
Right.
If I have guns, I got to have bullets.
Have you become accustomed, or do you actually love this? You know how like in Apocalypse Now that sergeant says, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Yeah. Do you have that same feeling with spray paint?
I love it. I love it, man. Still to this day, it's my favorite thing to do. And I'll bypass anything: snowboarding, basketball, anything, any sport, going swimming. Sometimes even my own family. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I need to paint. It's not a thing that I want to paint. I need to paint. In my opinion, that's
right.
That's what it's like for me.
Kind of like for you, like how you need to masturbate.
Yeah,
it's how he's talking about.
Right. Oh, thank God you remind me. I'm going to start bringing on that gay porn that you love so much, dude. Let me ask you this. So tell everybody, because most people, listen, there's a lot of, and I am knocking them. Fuck it. You're not knocking them. I'm knocking them, okay? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of amateur fucking hobbyist motherfuckers out there with some markers and some whatever. And
sure.
you know what I mean? And they're like, trying to use some old English. Oh, my name is, Punto. I'm Punto. Whatever. What do some beginning guys got to understand about the qualities of spray paint? What are some factors and things to look out for and think about? From a master.
I don't think I'm a master.
Oh, stop the humble shit. Stop the humble shit.
No, I really don't.
You don't
really
sell spray paint because you ain't a master.
Well, but I ended up selling
20,000 hours, right?
Yeah, easily. Come on,
hours, right?
Listen, I'm saying it. If you want to stay humble, first of all, you can't ever use the name of humble, because that's not going to work. Anger from a master. What do people need to understand? Some qualities and things to think about when they're thinking about spray paint for that type of art.
Well, I would say, for my opinion, I'm not a big fan of China. China makes a lot of spray paint, sells a lot of spray paint, and they don't have the best regulations in making any of their items. So why would you want them making your spray paint when you can have it be more toxic than it already is?
And then is there a way...
On top of
Go
that,
ahead.
China is a big reason why things are topsy-turvy. in our
Fucked up.
world.
Wuhan. You're talking about
And
Wuhan.
I'm just talking about just whatever you want to investigate, whatever you want to hear, whatever you want to believe.
Are you running for office, Anger?
Not at all.
Okay, because
Not at all.
I'm willing to come out and say shit. That shit started in Wuhan.
Yeah. I'm also not a big fan of the paint down in Mexico, but it's getting a lot better. I'm a fan of the paint that is made in Europe because I think they have the best standards.
Right.
American spray paint is still good. They just don't make it for graffiti artists. What happens
Italy makes good paint.
Italy, Germany.
What about
Greek.
Peru? Is there Peruvian paint?
There might be.
Pure
there
flake
might be.
Peruvian paint?
Yeah, there might be.
Colombian? Is there some Colombian paint that's imported? Or does that just help you energize, like stay up? And
I think every country has their own little brands. There's but these main brands have they've done well because they make good spray paint and then they blend well with the street urban. You know, the artist that's doing something, they're grabbing them and they're being like, oh, here, like use our spray paint, and they'll give them like Risky gets a pallet of paint a year or something like that, or whatever, every 6 months from Montana.
Is it true that Risky's getting a pallet of paint from Polish spray paint? Isn't he using Polish spray paint from Warsaw?
I think he's using
Warsaw Ghetto.
I think he's using spray paint from Vietnam that's made in a sweat factory.
Isn't it true that Risky's getting it from Iran and that he's evading a blockade on spray paint from Iran?
I think Risky's actually taking it from everybody. So
Risky's going to be on the show in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's all right.
No,
Hey,
To get
so,
his take on it. But listen, is Krylon still making paint?
they still make spray paint.
what's the difference between quality spray paint and shitty spray paint in terms of how it lays out on the building and or canvas or whatever?
You probably don't have to be as skilled anymore because the cans are so and the tips are so much better, the pressure and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I tell my
girl. So you
girl.
can be less, you can have less skills and get something accomplished. And then a lot of people, they don't do it the OG way, which is, you know, we're not using we're not using tape, you know, not projecting your shit on the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just doing it, like, I mean, you see, like, look at Deffer, right? I mean, Deffer is a main person that's doing that kind of calligraphy, taking that gang calligraphy style and making use of it, right? And putting it in all the right places. But you don't see him straying away from the way that it's supposed to be done, you know? And a lot of people, and it's okay these days, I guess. I mean, people need to make money, you know? So they'll project something on, but like a lot of people, there's a disdain for it. Some people that are there
cheating. Some people think it's cheating.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Hey, let me ask you this. If you're not projecting, because I've seen that for painters too, right? Okay, so for painters who paint on canvas in that style of art, you have a whole group of people that fucking take basically a photo that they took, filter it, right? That takes all of about like 30 seconds.
Correct.
Then they project that onto the canvas.
Correct.
And then they just paint it all in. If they want to get crazy with it, they fucking change the color palette a little bit, you know, get a little wacky.
Yeah.
But, and then some other painters would be like, hey, I mean, you can do that, I guess, you know. I mean, maybe even having paint to somebody at some point in time was cheating because they weren't using charcoal. Like there was a caveman who was like, hey, what's with the color? I mean, anybody
but even like, so you have, even in graffiti, like you have black books, right? A lot of people have black books where they do their styles in the black books, and you have markers and you do all your everything, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, they take a sketch and they'll go to the wall and look at their letters, right? And that's early on kind of projection.
Right, it's not in your brain.
It's early on. You already thought of everything, so I was having this conversation with my buddy Explode, who's, what's up, homie? How you doing? He's from down in the area.
Big ups, Explode.
Yeah. And I was just saying, hey, for me, what works is that I know I have the supplies right next to me. I know I have plenty of paint to paint the wall.
Yeah.
I might not know what the wall looks like when I get there. I might know what it looks like. I definitely don't know what I'm doing. Definitely don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what letter I'm starting with, and I don't know what letter I'm ending with. I could be doing something. I could not be doing something. But once I get done with what I'm doing, I'm happy with the process that I just went through once I got to the wall to when I'm leaving the wall.
Right.
That's my meditation time. You know what I mean? When I get to put on my headphones, when I get to blast my fucking, my Metallica, my Rage, my Jim Pepper, whatever music I want to listen to, and I can just be in a zone.
Yeah.
Spraying. That's what I like to do, So,
Kind of like
man.
jazz in that way.
You're kind of like jazz in that way,
Very much
man.
like jazz.
You know what, bro? You just made a perfect... This is exactly when the gyms were open. Every day, that's what I get in the gym, man. Putting on headphones, blasting, and just getting down, dude.
Yeah.
And like, then I try to explain to people, like, that's the chunk of time in my life that I can do what's in front of me,
Right.
and there's nothing else on the planet.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is what I'm doing, and that's a meditation
You're in
in
the
itself,
zone.
bro. You're in a zone, bro, and it's like, I think that
Hold on.
I think that what?
I was just gonna say, I think what he also described was how we do the show.
This fucking guy right here, bro. Look at this. Look how he has it set up. Like, that's some pig shit, dude. Right there. That's fucking pig shit right there, bro. I love this guy, bro.
Describe what you're saying. What do you see?
Okay, dude, like, you know what it looks like to me? It looks like he's got like 20 Hershey Kisses unwrapped, all stacked in front of him. That's what that looks like to me, okay? This fucking guy can't eat the bar out of the wrapper. God forbid, because he's not going to get it into his lungs fast enough. He unwraps 2 full bars, wedges them together like it's one. He's like molded it now into one massive bar. And the thing's going to go down in 3 bites. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
No,
Anyway.
what I was gonna say was that's also how we do the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve, honestly, when
Absolutely. 1,000%. It is. And when you're in that zone, bro, you're not thinking about the other shit.
how often do we have like production meetings ahead of time where we're like, we're gonna
Never
talk
had
about-
once.
Exactly. All we know is that,
Some shit's going to happen.
and sometimes we know who the guest is going to be, like in this case.
Right.
But remember, I mean, even Anger, when we were talking initially, right? We were like, let's just save. Let's not even have the introductory stuff
Yeah.
until we get on the show.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the best way.
It is.
Yeah.
So you show up, you're like kind of open, and you're like, whatever's there. I know maybe some parameters, but I have no idea yet what's going to happen.
Yep.
And then as it comes out, so for you, is painting like sculpting then? Like, Michelangelo said that when he sculpts, he has the rock, and then he just visualizes the statue inside the rock. And he chips
Right.
away the extraneous shit. And what he reveals is the vision. He's not trying.
I love that term.
Right.
Right.
So for you, is it sort of like that where you show up and you're really just getting things out of the way to reveal what is inside?
It's a great way to put that.
For me, I think it's always been an exploration of the alphabet. For me, that's just me. I'm not a
It's not that deep.
I'm not a character guy. I'm not a background guy. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to be wowed by my, awesome skill set. I tell most people anything that you've seen me do, it's all balls. It's no fucking not talent. It's all balls. And I literally Skate, rest in peace, pointed me out at a meeting one time and told me that I was whack, that my graffiti sucked, and that
Why?
I needed to, because I was laughing at something that I shouldn't have been laughing at.
What were you laughing at?
I was just in the crew. Whatever I was laughing at, it was enough that he had to say, "Hey, man, don't laugh. You don't have no right to laugh. You ain't done nothing. You ain't earned nothing to be laughing. So what the fuck you laughing at?
Damn.
Get your shit together, then be able to laugh at a motherfucker. Don't jump up to level 4 and be like laughing at a level 4 yard, right?
No.
If you're from a level 2 yard, you just don't do it. You
And-
better appropriate yourself to the audience that you're with.
Address-
How did you feel when that slap down came?
All eyes on me. Okay, handle it. I've been in awkward positions before. It's okay. It's okay.
It's
I-
like his
I
big
ended-
homie telling him.
Yeah.
No, I
ended up-
get it. I want guys and gals to Mr. and Mrs. Earbuds to like understand that getting a slap down from somebody that's giving you what the code is and where you're really at in some perspective isn't the end of the world. It doesn't mean
Right.
that they're wrong, and it's actually maybe a good thing in the long run. Was that? I mean, is that how you saw that eventually?
Okay, so around that time, I was from CBS. I was actively doing graffiti. Skate was from a gang. He was from a gang called Scandals. Scandals was a mixed gang, which there's not a lot of anymore. But at that time, there was blacks, there was Mexicans, there was whites, Russians, fucking all kinds of different people. So I got jumped into that gang just because they were associated with CBS. And my big was this guy named Bulldog. And Bulldog was Ace from Playboy Gangster Crip. And he was also Bulldog from Scandals. And he had they called him One Punch because he was a badass.
I love that.
And so he liked me. He liked my attitude, and he wanted me to be his little. So I needed to, once I got into Scandals, I had this name that I had associated myself with, which was Anger. And I had started to put this name on the street in some sort of way, and I started to get response from it. So I became Little Bulldog, and I became what Lucky would say was the guy that always was down to get into something. I had gone through those weird experiences. I'd been in New Mexico, I'd been at survival camps. By the time I was 15, I was already learning how to shoot guns. I was learning how to use knives. When I was in India, I practiced gutka, which is sword fighting, knife fighting. It's the Sikh version of martial arts. Mm-hmm. I was doing processions in the streets of India, play fighting with my friends. I had swords when I was 9 years old. Right. You know what I mean? I was
Sikhs always carry a blade with them, dog.
Exactly.
love that.
It's called a kirpan.
Yeah,
it's a kirpan, and they're allowed to by their
because of the religion, huh?
Because of the religion, yeah.
And then what are those bracelets called?
Those bracelets are dope.
Karas.
I've always liked those, dude.
Dude,
I always liked those.
I had a friend in the family, Jay Bawa, who's a Sikh, and he had those. What is it called?
Kara,
and he would open beer with it. He would show me how to open pull the thing off of a beer.
But also,
from the bracelet.
So the Nahungs are the warrior Sikhs.
Yeah.
And those are the dudes that we used to hang with in India, right? We were young Nahungs. But hold on, I'm gonna stray from the story about
Go ahead.
about Bulldog, about gangster shit, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you about that Sikh shit in a second if you remind me. So right around that time, lots of shit going down just in the streets, as everybody may be aware of or not aware of, but definitely in that area there was shit always going on. We lived in the, we hung out by the Beverly Center, Fairfax High, Hollywood, that whole area. One day we ended up going up into the Beverly Center. I was with my boys, my one boy Sandman from Lads. He had just gotten out. That fool had been doing a lot of time. We're going up to the top floor, which is the 8th floor in the Beverly Center. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're going from the 7th floor up. The escalators are coming down. There's 2 dudes walking with 2 women, and Sandman's mad dogging with them. And Sandman, he got the look, he got the pen look. You know what I mean? He's got his beanie on, tucked down. He probably got a fucking wife beater on. And he's just, he's tattooed up and shit. And I'm not really paying attention to it. But basically their mad dogging turned into us jumping up to the 8th floor, going back down the escalators down to the 7th floor, and us squaring off with these 2 dudes with their women right there, right? Shit pops off. It ended up, as I remembered it, they did attack him first.
Right. Of course.
When shit started popping off, I had a dog chain that I was running around with that night, swinging around and shit, and wrapping around my fist. So I fucking just start laying into this dude, right? Because he's on my boy, and I gotta fucking, have his back. And all of a sudden, dude comes up, pulls out a strap, and he's fucking, he goes, this Culver City police, freeze, motherfuckers. And there's me and probably Joey was there. There's probably Sandman, 2 other dudes, maybe 4 other guys. So he's doing he's how the crowd is right here. There's probably us kind of spread like that. So he goes like that.
Yeah.
He goes over that way. I just jam out. I take off 7th floor. I ran all the way over to Beverly Boulevard, down the escalators, and I run all the way east on Beverly through the alleyways all the way to Fairfax. Dead run, not stopping, just jamming.
Adrenaline just fucking.
I was like, fuck, I just fucking assaulted a fucking police officer.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
They don't take kindly to that shit.
So you know, I run to the homies pad. My boy Ollie was there. He was like leader of lads, and all the homies used to kick it there. I'm like, yo, dude, this just got into shit. I just fucking, you know, I told them the story. They're like, dude, fuck, dude, like, whatever. You know, I probably drank a beer, smoked, chilled.
Right.
You know, I went home that night. I think the next day was Thanksgiving. I was still living with my mom.
Right.
And I had Thanksgiving tofu turkey.
Tofurkey.
Tofurkey, right?
Tofurkey, come.
And
See that, Steve?
I was ready to go out. I was ready to go hook up with the homies. Not really thinking that great, as most criminals don't.
Right.
I go back to the scene of the crime.
Oh, you go back there.
I go back.
You know, Big Lepke does that sometimes.
Yeah. It's a weird thing.
Big Lep says hello, by the way.
Scary looking guy. Hi, Lepke.
He's now we call him OG Moses.
There you go.
Yeah. Go
What
ahead.
happens?
I go to Starkey's, which was, if anybody went to the Beverly Center, was the they had the, was it a pizzeria or like a deli or something
Deli,
like that?
yeah.
And then they had all the video games and everything. So I
Right.
go start playing 720, whatever I was playing at the time.
Wait,
My-
720?
The video game,
What was 720?
the skating
the
video
round-
game.
Oh, 720 degrees.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And then my boy Bugsy, who worked at the spot, was it Bugsy or Little Man? One of those two roll up to me and they're like, "Hey, dude, fucking security's coming for you." Before I could, you know, maneuver or anything, I just get swarmed by like 8-10 security guards. They take me down. I go through the whole process, go to fucking juvenile hall. You know what I mean? It's you know, my mom is fucking super disappointed, but my mom comes to court. She's like, "Hey," she's like, you know, and she's wearing a full turban. She's still a Sikh, but I'm wearing my hair down now.
You got long hair?
I got long hair,
All right.
in a braid. You know what I mean? Most of
Nice.
the time, yeah. And she was able to talk to the judge and be like, "Hey, can I get him into rehab?" I end up going into rehab, kind of fighting my case at the time, and I ended up going to Charter Hospital, which was out in West Covina, and bringing it back all the way to that meeting when Skate pointed me out. I saw that this was my time and my opportunity to get better. As he had said, I was not that great at what I was laughing at, and I needed to get better.
Right.
So I spent the next 3-4 months just sketching a lot, going in a book, drawing, coming up with ideas, coming up with concepts. I get out and I show him what I'm up to, and I'm like, "Hey, check it out. This is what I started to create." He's like, "Whoa." He's like, "These are awesome, dude." You know, what the CBS letters that I was doing, the style that I was doing. He just loved that I put time and effort into learning more about the craft and not just going off of pure aggression shit, right?
Right.
And so I got better, and that's how I got better. Is I just I took advantage of some dead time, and I just put my I didn't have like anything to like at that time. You didn't have an internet to look at. You couldn't look at you could maybe have people bring shit in, but I just was going off of like what I saw on the streets, what I went to different yards, just basic lettering that I kind of knew existed, and I just got better.
Let me ask you a question. When it comes to, because you say you're an alphabet guy, is there what are some insights or some interesting thoughts that you've had about letters? I mean, you spend so much time looking at letters, you spend so
Right.
much time thinking about them. What are some observations or some thoughts that people might not really understand about the alphabet
Well, I
or
mean,
any letters?
if you do anything for one name for so long, you kind of get sick of it. And I got sick of doing anger pieces. So like early in in 97, after writing anger for 10 years, I kind of changed my name. I got a new AKA, and I started doing the fungus among us. The fungus lives, the fungus dies, the fungus was here, the fungus kills, the fungus, the fungus does all kinds of shit. You know, that's basically, it's a lot of letters, the fungus, and then whatever you put next to it. It's a lot of work, a lot of paint, a lot of hours. So early 2000s, I caught a case. I had to go in for a while, for 9 months. I ended up getting out. Again, I took advantage of my time. I did a lot of studying, knowledge, got my body right, got my mind right. One of the first priorities is when I get out, I want to find a lady that can support the type of man that I am, and help me grow into the man I'm to become.
Right.
So when I got out, I ended up hooking up with this chick that knew this other chick that now is my wife.
Yeah.
She's had my heart from day one. I told her everything that I am. She doesn't care. She works for the county. She probably shouldn't be dating a dude like me, but she saw that I was good at heart, and she didn't judge me for just getting out or whatever. And now we're together we've got 2 kids. One's 16, one's 14. We've been together probably 17 years. Married.
What did she do for the county at that time? What was
Well, she's
At that time?
No, at that time she's a social worker
all right?
for the DCFS.
So she had a soft spot for some troublemakers.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that's she's made me such a great man to, the man that I am today. I owe a lot of it to her because she's just put up with my shit for so long.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You had a big incident happen in your life that I had heard about when it kind of went down. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Sure, we could talk around it too.
Okay. I'm gonna let you talk. Well, yeah,
I will. Yeah, we will actually. But I guess I'll finish up with what I was trying to get at.
What?
Was in the beginning I talked about AKA Elias White Crow becoming Siri Singh Khalsa, AKA becoming Sad Boy, Derelict, Anger, AKA becoming Fungus. And then once my second kid was born, I couldn't do Fungus pieces anymore because I had to be home more. So I was like, ooh, AKA. I started writing AKA, which I really like doing. And what I was telling Lucky outside, I was like, I think people, you're a loud chewer.
Yeah, dude.
Very loud chewer.
like a horse.
I was thinking the same. And dude, Steve.
Shut the fuck
No,
up.
listen, Steve.
The
Shut
fuck
up.
up.
Listen. Let me ask you a question.
Córtate la güey.
What kind of gum are you chewing?
Big Red.
What's up with Big Red?
Big Red's
That's
the
like
shit.
an old time gum.
Hell yeah.
It is an
Cinnamon.
old time gun, yeah.
You just wanted some cinnamon?
Shout out to Big Red.
Big
Because
Red.
I'm a red brother.
Is that what it is? It's
Yeah.
an Indian gum?
It's Indian gum. When
Hey,
you
how
see the
come
Big
there's
Red,
no
it's like a subliminal, like, I'm Indian too.
They should make like an American Indian chewing gum. Like flavor, like tobacco flavor,
Oof.
sage flavor, buffalo flavor.
Go on.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's get back on the track over here.
I mean, don't look at
The
me with those
motherfucking flavors
You're
and
like
shit.
sitting there chewing. And by the
Fucking
way,
guy.
what you called
Oh,
me
what?
a pig? Where's the rest? Why is there like 18
I
rappers?
call you a pig out of love.
I know me, and I'm calling it back to you out of love. What is there's like 18 rappers. How much gum is left from that package?
Actually, Sean, is there 18 rappers or is there actually 3 rappers right there?
What's that?
Well, there's 3 and there's 1 in your hand.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what's with how much of the gum is left from the package, Steve?
Well, we've been on for quite a while, and I chew a piece for about 15 minutes or so.
And then what happens?
It loses all its flavor.
Yeah, it's pretty
Right?
bad and it gets all hard
Right.
after hard luck show.
So
Yeah.
you're just over there just grinding on gum?
Grinding out, because it's like popcorn when you're in a good movie. That's how it is right now. I'm just listening. I'm like, I'm in it. So I don't know if I'm chewing loud, what I'm doing with my mouth, because my ears have taken over. Go ahead.
All right. Go ahead. Are you gonna stop chewing gum?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
So, anyways, I would say this modern day. What I was telling Lucky
Yeah.
is modern day today. Do I invest all my thoughts and collective positive being into a name anger? No, I don't. I don't invest it. If it ends up that I need to hone in on that skill set to be able to handle a situation, be it in the streets, be it in a boardroom, whatever it matters, cool, I'll handle it. But I kind of go by AKA White Crow today, modern day. I don't go by anger as much. People are going to keep on calling me it, and that's cool.
Because that's kind of
all
how they
good.
know you.
That's how they know me.
His introduction.
Yeah.
I needed my man to explain it because I get that. Look at man, this guy's I get to see what kind of some interactions that he shares in his life, man. And he's really, man, this guy's just like, you can just tell by the look in his son's eyes, his wife, like he's in this thing. He's a family man, and he looks like a great father, and I just feel like, if he's, I would never want to be like, hey, this is my buddy Anger. I don't want to put that out there in energy because you're living differently. But that is your artist name that I know you from.
Yeah.
Hey,
And a lot of times we talk about the history and what goes on, and this is a huge piece of L.A. art history. This is Can't Be Stopped, okay? This is a graffiti crew in the Hollywood area in L.A.
the crew's name is
Can't Be Stopped,
Okay.
CBS.
What year, decade are they big? Or are they still around? What's up?
He would have to answer that, but I can tell you that the mid to late 80s, all through the 90s, was a big, even in the 2000s, a big graffiti crew. They're still around, but they were like, this is, I guess, as it was coming all together.
Yeah, I mean, I got into CBS in '88. Skate was leader of the crew at the time, and he was leader up until he died in 1993. 1993, he was gone, and I guess at that point I kind of took over the crew and became the de facto fucking leader. A lot of my boys were all too caught up, partying, going to strip clubs. Graffiti wasn't their really focus anymore. They were doing other shit, making money, whatever. And I liked what I had already been part of, and I wanted to kind of continue that on. So I trudged forward from when Skate passed away. I just tried to build the crew the best way that I could, and try to be a source of I tried my best to become the vertebrae for CBS, which is our vertebrae is what keeps us all together. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy task. It doesn't come without tons of opinions from outside people,
Right.
And you take a lot of whether it's friends, just crewmates, old friends, new friends, whatever. You're just always subject to kind of some scrutiny as being a leader, and people are never going to really fully understand what it is to be a leader unless they take on a leadership aspect role.
Everybody's got a bunch of fucking opinions
Yeah.
when they're not in the spot,
Correct.
Yeah.
right? And when
Correct.
you're in the spot, you got to make some decisions.
Correct.
And you got to be willing to carry the responsibility on your
Correct.
shoulders, right? That's absolutely
I've
right.
made tons of decisions. I've had to boot. I'm the main guy that boots people from the crew. I'm
Right.
the main guy that brings people into the crew.
Right.
I actually created a whole crew just to bring prospective members into CBS. You can't just come to CBS and hang out and get into CBS.
There's a sub crew.
Correct. I got the idea from Skate back in the day. He had a crew called TCS, and he would put people into TCS to get him into CBS. So in 2017, I created a crew called Graffiti Wolves, and I created that crew GW specifically so that I could get to know somebody and they could get to know what the situation was that they're getting into, because I don't think people really think about what they're getting into. There a lot of people, if they had it to do over again and they had all the information in front of them, some people would not make the same decision that they made.
Right.
And so I tell people, hey man, this is for your safety and my safety. My safety is that I don't know you. You want to be from CBS. That's cool. Your graffiti is awesome. You're great skill. You have great skills. Do you fit into what we are? And that takes a little bit of time. It doesn't come overnight.
Right.
I no longer meet somebody and I'm like, oh yeah, get in the crew. I'm like, hey, if you want to be from the crew, hang out with us for a year or two. And let's see what happens. And I've had so many people fall off. So many people.
I would think most
It's
fall
50,
off.
it's 40, it's almost 50-50 most of the time, but it's almost, it tilts, and I'm super happy for the successful people. I have great crew members all over the world, all over the United States, all over Southern California, in LA.
I love the way he said so many people fall off.
Yeah.
Because you could almost
We know some people that fall off. Huh?
not only that, Steve, is it's also you can kind of sense the anguish that's in that because he's not saying it necessarily just to say most motherfuckers don't have the heart to deal with this. He's not really just saying it that way. He's also saying like there were some people that came through that had some potential that was worth something, and even they fell off. That was a great. I mean, but that's kind of.
But it's just true, and
Right.
especially with the creation of Instagram, with being able to get a hold of people and people be able to get a hold of you. Like I get people from all over the country hitting me up, being like, "I want to be part of your crew,"
Right.
And I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah, what the fuck do you?
Why?
Yeah, what's in it?
Because CBS is a household name in graffiti, then it's gonna bring your the level of your name up.
That might not be what it would take to actually be in it. You're gonna have to have a different kind of heart if you're really gonna hang.
Hey, can you read it? Do you read his shirt?
No, it says "Crankin' Black Sabbath."
CBS.
Okay. Thank you. Is that like a code for CBS?
Yeah.
I got it. All right.
I made these. I wanted to make these.
He's
I
looking
wanted
at me like, "Yeah, motherfucker, you are catching on yet?" And I'm not catching on. I'm like, so it's CBS.
So this goes all the way back to Missouri. And when I listened to Black Sabbath for the first time, it was not Ozzy Osbourne.
Right.
Yes, correct. Public. It was not the guy that you think. It was Ronnie James Dio. Yes, Ronnie James Dio is my fucking hero. And this shirt is dedicated to Ronnie James Dio.
Why is Ronnie James Dio your hero?
Because I listened to his whatever Black Sabbath album, which was his first album. That's the album with fuck, I'm getting old. Anyways, his voice and that music with the same members from Black Sabbath is what, for me, is Black Sabbath. I love Ozzy now, and I love all those dope albums, but Ronnie James Dio will always be the first Black Sabbath for me. And so modern day, a few years ago, when they were kind of coming to the end, right? They're doing their last tour, and I wanted to do this shirt in remembrance of them and in remembering like what it felt like to listen to Black Sabbath when I was up in Missouri. Like I had somebody's headphones in, and it, like that raw fucking power that you were talking about with jazz or music, what it gives you, you know what I mean? That fucking shiver that goes through your body. That's what Black Sabbath has always been to me. That's what, and like I don't come into graffiti through the hip hop vein, meaning that like I'm not a b-boy. I ain't fucking breakdancing for you. Right. I ain't fucking rapping for you.
Are you going to put down any cardboard and do a backspin?
I'm not doing any backspins of any sort for anybody whatsoever. I'm getting in the slam pit. I'm knocking a motherfucker down, and I'm picking him back up. I'm knocking a motherfucker down, and I'm picking that dude up. And I'm going to go through the pit just knocking into motherfuckers the whole time because my shit is metal. That's my my first love will always be metal, and this shirt is dedicated to
Was the album Heaven and Hell?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Let's continue to tell us. Steve, ask him a question while I pull up Heaven and Hell.
There you go.
Okay.
So you were asking about some other shit that happened, and we'll bring that up, I guess.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah. We'll talk about
So we talked about that one thing that happened in the Beverly Center. There was a bunch of different things that happened like that where I started catching cases and stuff like that. There's a lot of fun things to do in the early 90s in Los Angeles,
Tell me if you think this is right. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
This is right. This is so right.
It's always right.
Come on.
So, what ended up happening is I love this band so much. I love this man. I know he's passed away now, but the artwork, the album covers, everything about Dio fucking does it for me. My mom worked at Children's Hospital. My mom in Hollywood. And my mom took care of one of his kids when it was a baby because she was
Premature?
Premature, yeah.
A preemie.
A preemie. And So she told him, hey, my son's a really big fan of yours. And so I got an autographed picture of Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
And then one time I was painting in the La Brea alleyway a block above Pink's, La Brea and Melrose, right? And two Heshers are walking down the alley, and then they're like, dude, oh my God. I'm like, what are you guys, what's up, dude? He's like, dude, Ronnie James Dio, bro. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, he's right there. And I look up, and there's a Range Rover, and there's a dude popping up the Range Rover, and it's Ronnie James Dio, dude. And I look up, I mean, it's Hollywood, dude. You don't run up on nobody.
Right.
But you still get a little starstruck, right?
I'm like quarter of the alley down from it, and I go, Ronnie! And he looks over, and I'm just like this, dude. And I just put him up in the air, and he just puts it up in the air, and I'm like, my life is complete. I could die right now. Semi-truck hit me, because that shit just felt like, yeah. And like maybe most motherfuckers would have ran up to him, but I was like, respect. Go do your thing. I'm not going to bother you. But he gave me horns, and I fucking...
That's all
I'm
you
good.
needed.
That's all I'm good, man.
Ronnie James
Yeah.
Dio.
Dude, they got some interesting titles, dude. Neon Nights, Children of the Sea. This is Children of the Sea.
You never listened to this album?
No, I swear to God.
Dude.
I don't front when I don't know
Yeah.
some shit.
Sacred Heart, Holy Diver. Oh, all these albums.
Listen to this, dude.
The edge of time, reaching for the rising sun, the final sun.
Aren't people from Santa Monica people of the sea, children of the sea?
Floating, rose away to die, reaching for the sky, we climb the sky. Yeah, he was in the. Well, you know, this is because of him.
I did not know that.
No, yeah.
The horns?
So Ron, I met a Hesher later on that I worked with. I do audio and video stuff.
Real quick, what's a Hesher for the people that are listening that don't
Hesher, a person that listens to metal.
know? Okay, a metalhead.
A metalhead.
All right, go ahead.
So I met this Hesher, and he was a bigger fan of metal, and he knew all the history of Ronnie James Dio. Ronnie James Dio started in a band called Ronnie and the Red Dots, which was not a metal band, and then he was in several different other bands, but he was the guy that I guess his grandma, the story goes.
Go ahead.
That his grandma used to do this to him, and it was like some way to ward off evil.
Yes,
Right?
that's old country
Right?
shit.
And so she used to always like that. And so like when he started doing music, he started doing the same thing to when he was singing, he would do this.
Right.
And
it just caught on.
I think that's the lineage of the horns.
Steve, you're a part.
Am I wrong or wrong?
No, I think you're right.
No, you're right.
okay.
Wikipedia says you were right.
Yep.
All right, hold on. He
He's
wrote
right,
the
win.
Wikipedia page. Hey, you're part Sicilian. Isn't there a Sicilian thing with like the maluch or the eye to ward off or to
Yes,
to any bad
absolutely.
luck?
It's Catholic. It's from Catholicism, actually.
Yeah, the maluch. That's and it goes all the way back to Rome before
The maluch.
The maluch.
Mammoth.
Hey, but in Rome before that, before they became Catholic, then they had the other gods. They
Right.
still had these movements to ward off danger or bad, especially if you were talking positive about the future.
Yeah.
You know that feeling that everybody's got when you're like, oh yeah, that's good. And you're like, hey, be cautiously optimistic, motherfucker. You can't catch your chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
A lot of that kind of vibe, they would give the sign to ward off the negative or the bad fates or the bad spirits.
Yeah.
That's the fucking
and then
maluch.
I mean,
The maluch.
what's the weirdest thing, right?
The
That
maluch.
became a metal thing, and
Right.
then fucking MS came along, and they were metalheads.
Right.
And they fucking took this, and it became, that's the sign for MS. I mean, I guess they go this
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, you'll see tons of
Totally.
hit-ups in, I remember one downtown, it was like, they did the fucking, they did the hand, and then they did all their fucking, Mara Zapatuchas all around it. It was badass with a rosary. I think there was a rosary on the fucking horns. It was...
That's that. Remember, I tell you that there's like huge Latino community. Well, like, fucking Salvadorian, Honduran, like that were all into like rock and
Metal.
roll, metal,
Oh, yeah.
metal. Like fucking. I mean, mid city stoners were like
Still to this day.
yeah, just
Still to this
it's a
day.
Trip. A lot of people don't know about.
You go to
that
an Excel show.
culture.
If you go to an Excel, I went to an Excel show 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Dude, the fucking whole crowd is all Mexican. There's like a few white boys, but like the whole fucking crowd was fucking.
I love metal Latinos. They're like one of my favorite groups of people. And can I do a
the hot metal chola.
Yeah. Oh, but
the hybrid.
Every chola, most of the cholas I know are hot, except
hot.
my wife is the hottest. Dear love, but I got a whole story about how much trouble I got into because my wife listened to the show and she heard some things and she was fucking throwing a shoe at me and everything. It was a whole thing.
That's good.
I don't know
What'd
if we
you
want to.
hear?
Do we want to get into it right now?
What'd you hear?
Well, so we had Rachel Sterling on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then subsequently, we had the random show with the listener, Mark Torres, which turned out to be a fucking fan favorite.
Okay.
Everybody loved that show, especially when we got to the end and started making fun of Brian Scott's IG
All right.
and his sad food.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
So then, but in that, I remembered that Sean, or Blue Eyes, was talking big and puffing out his chest about how Rachel Sterling, he would never fall for her shit because he knows she's never going to fuck him, so he's not even going to go there. Then you and I were like, come on, dog. All she has to do is try to seduce you a little bit. She wouldn't even break a sweat, and you'd be fucking painting her toenails in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? And he was like, no.
Suck on her toes.
So in that, listen to this. In that discussion, and you know how careful I am because I love my wife. You know how careful I am.
Yeah.
I'm always like, except for my wife, blah, 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 right? In that discussion, right, we all are admitting that Kitty Sterling, Rachel Sterling, is beautiful, right? And people are into her.
Right.
And it's almost stupid if you're a male and a heterosexual, and maybe even homosexual might be. Could be, because I'm sure there's
she's
some
pretty
gay guys.
attractive.
I'm sure there's some gay guys that would give up booty for a little bit of what Rachel's selling.
Right.
All right. So we're all saying it. I don't even say it. I go, somebody, I think you say like, yeah, who's not into Rachel Sterling? And Sean's like, yeah, who's not into Rachel Sterling? And I'm like, yeah, you are, he is, she is, I am.
You said I am?
I am.
Oh.
I said I am.
Yeah.
And in
But
this,
wouldn't it be
Instead you said I do, and now you're saying I am.
oh my God.
but wouldn't it be
motherfucker.
unnatural and you would be a liar if you didn't say I am?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've ever dealt.
But would your wife rather that you be a liar or just a regular man?
Well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a relationship with? Where do you think I'm going with this?
I don't know, but you calmly were like, well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been
in a romantic relationship with a Latina?
Uh-oh.
I mean, ever.
No.
Oh, dude.
Okay,
no.
so
will you answer that question? When it takes you that long,
You then
to
it's a
answer
no.
that, it's a no.
Okay,
Definitely
so
no.
all I'm going to say is you're using.
I did think my chick was a Latina at first, and
then
she was Jewish, and totally very misguided.
She's like, why don't you come over?
I was like, you were hitting the tanning salon, weren't you? A lot. Like I
Come over
feel
for
like you were.
matzo ball soup.
No,
He's like,
no.
where the carne asada tacos?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. She's like, why don't you come over for traditional family dinner? And he was like, finally, carnitas. And he goes in there, and it's a bunch of unleavened bread.
There you go.
Okay, so no. Okay, so you're using logic, and that's cool, and I get it. And then I'm like, all right. But it's a Latina.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Ain't no logic in that.
I've heard and I understand, and I'm praying for you.
But listen, it's part of the reason. It's part of the reason why I get an erection from my wife.
Right,
is
there's
because
a
she's
flip
crazy.
Side. There's
Yeah.
a flip side
Right?
to it.
Yeah. Like
Yep.
I like. Okay.
You got the fever.
Right. I'm fucking eating hot peppers, and then I got a fucking tough. What? Hey, the point is,
sir.
I am right, and in this very office where we're sitting.
Well, you fucked up.
Oh,
You have an opportunity to clean it up right now on air tonight.
Oh, I already
Right
told her
now.
I was going to do that. Listen, this argument I recorded on film. As she was yelling, and I'm like, listen, I'm recording this. The people need to hear this. My fans
And we're
need
gonna
to hear
get to listen to it. in a little while?
She would not let me. I know. So
How about if I took it out of your hand, the phone, and I do it myself?
no,
and
because
couldn't
you already
stop me?
said that, and she's Latina. And she's a lawyer. She's a lawyer.
Oh, no.
I'm a lawyer. She's a
Yeah,
lawyer.
man.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my law firm.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we're
yeah.
sitting right
No,
now.
no, yeah, I
I
get
was
it.
just-
Hey, wait, if you can't do it
Whoa.
in the light of day, you shouldn't be doing it.
So
I said,
she
let's play the
said,
tape.
she said, you're married. You have a daughter. And you're saying that you're into another woman. And I pulled out every shtick I had. I made jokes about it. I said, listen, this is just part of the show. I gotta say that. And really, this was about Sean. That's not even about. I said 2 words. They said 1,000. What do you want me to? And I said to her, I go, listen, let me tell you something. I married you. And I had children with you. And I live with your mother. All right? Because I love you. And she's like, that's what motherfuckers who cheat always say.
Yeah.
They go, you know what? Yes, I did. Yes, I fucked her. You know, that old Eddie Murphy bit. But I'm in love with you. I said, babe. And then I put my arms around her and I said, please take me back. I did everything,
So
bro.
you got all that patience and them skills I don't have, dog. I put your arms and walk her through it and rub her back and light some incense and put some poochie oil on. Oh, baby.
No, you know what, Mike?
I can't
You
do
know
that.
what got me around the corner on this one?
What?
I go, God damn, baby, thank you I love you so much because you're still jealous. You're still jealous, and I love that.
But you see how you know to, like, put your arm around her?
Yeah.
Look her in the eye.
Yeah.
When she says go, you don't go because you know it means opposite. You know, all those little things, you know, like, I don't have any way to, like, deal with that. I go from, like, as soon as I hear something like that,
Yeah.
I go completely the other way.
Listen.
No, fuck you. You know, like, I'm not even gonna have this discussion. Like,
Yeah,
you,
but listen.
you have a marriage and you communicate and you do the right things.
No,
together.
listen, part of me is entertained by it. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, part of me is a little entertained by it. She didn't take it too far, right? This is part of, you know, I don't think people fully, they know on an intuitive, instinctive level that this is going on, but I don't think that they necessarily consciously understand this. But part of what goes on between everybody, but lovers and whoever else, right, is an agreement, a social contract that's unspoken. This is why sometimes when you say things like, pick up the check, even though you don't got $1 in your pocket and the other guy's the rich guy, you still offer knowing full well he's going to say, no. You're going to do a little bit of an argument and then he's going to take the check. And the agreement is sort of like, I'm respecting the fact that I'm not entitled for you to pay for the lunch. I'm not acting like that. Right. You're understanding that I'm broke and it would be kind of a little greasy for you to say, well, let's just draw a line down the middle and figure out. And then you're also kind of agreeing at that moment that when luck favors you and you've got some extra cash in your pocket and the shoe's on the other foot, you're not going to make the poor guy pay for it. That's all that unsaid shit is part of that discussion. Right. Which is why someone's considered a real fucking asshole if the broke guy goes, hey, I'll pick up the... And they go, okay, great, thanks. Right? And then the lawyer with the suit walks out. Now you'd be like, what a fucking asshole. Right. He's not a real guy. So... that also goes with love relationships, right? When you're married and you have a wife or whatever it is, you're part of a relationship, so you're going to put in the energy required to win her love back. And you're going to let her know that you appreciate that she still gets jealous, because that's really what it's about. Do you care about whether or not she's going to be jealous? And is it going to mean something to you? And are you going to at least, no one's going anywhere, but are you at least going to put in the effort to win her love back? And those are the notes you have to hit in that scenario in order to establish with her that you still love her after children and everything. She's more important to you than anybody else. That's it. And you're saying, I don't got that.
I don't. Like, if you don't get that and we're here, then I don't know what to tell you. 'Cause I don't have time to sit here and break it down to you over and over and over again. I'll rather spend our lives doing something other than that. Right.
Well, that's not on a constant. That's not on a...
I know. I'm taking everything and blowing it up a little bit. You just have far more... you're just more healthy in communication, and you're in love, dude. And this is the mother of your kid. It's like all the right reasons. I'm certainly not in those positions.
And listen, I want to tell you something else. Part of my job is dealing with personalities and trying to figure out how to get information out of them. Remember with Bernice, you guys were like, "How the fuck did you?" Right? Figure that.
But listen. I'm going to interrupt you.
Go ahead,
because it sounded one way, and I do want to say that. I do practice, and I get to practice this stuff with my daughter.
Right.
Although it's difficult sometimes.
That was in the Mark Torres show. You talked a lot about how much your daughter means to you.
Well, right. And it's not always naturally easy.
Right.
That's something that in the dynamic of a relationship with a woman,
I
haven't been able to execute. But with my daughter, I certainly do and can.
Right. But and it's what's interesting is that your daughter is in the generation of it's appropriate for her to be needy to you.
Absolutely.
If it's a pure adult, which is your wife or your mother or older brother, right?
Yeah.
That's not appropriate,
Right.
But from your daughter,
Absolutely.
it makes sense.
100% right.
In my wife, listen, and so also the other part of it is I like to practice counter arguments and other ways of reframing the issue because it helps me in everything. This show, the job, blah 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 blah. So when she said, "What if?" Because women love to go to the daughter. Whenever a male fucks up, right? They go, "Well, what if that was your daughter?" That's our go-to.
That's the new shit.
Right? Because you can't. It's like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah, you're
right.
pinned.
So I already know I'm in the corner on the ropes when she goes to that, right? And what if you had a daughter? And what if her husband on the podcast said he was into another woman? Would you want that? And I was hemmed in there for a second, and I go, "Yes, I would." And she goes, "What?" I go, "Yes, I would." If he was a successful attorney with a successful podcast, and he was able to say in a joking fashion, in an entertaining way, that he was into another woman because he was bringing home the bread to provide for his family, goddamn right I would say he should say that. And she was like dumbfounded. She had nothing to say to that. And then that's when the reunification started.
There you go.
Very good. All right. Now, Anger's back.
Yeah, okay. So,
Anger.
oh, wait. Wait, before you do that.
I gotta drive to Palm Springs.
No. Before you do that, I got one quick thing.
Go ahead,
quick thing.
go ahead.
A listener, Arma Sour Grapes, had a question, and his question was, he asked us if you would, sir, if you could. I mean, if you can't, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
What is a tag banger?
What is a tag banger?
That was the question.
I mean, tag banging was a thing that went down in the early 90s, I guess.
Okay.
More so.
Yeah.
And it was just I think it was people. Is the mic moving? Am I tripping or what?
No, just don't ignore the mic because Sean's handling it.
Okay. So, I mean, from my perspective, I guess there were graffiti crews back in the early 90s that kind of, who doesn't kind of hang out and have friends that are gangsters?
Right.
Right? And so taggers hung out with people that were gangsters. They started to formulate their own selves as gangsters.
Got it.
And they started to put 13 next to their names.
Okay.
And they started to get into it with other tag crews and act like gangsters.
Right.
And at some point, there was, I think, a lot of resistance from other people that felt like they needed to choose to become a gangster.
Yeah.
Or just be a tagger.
Yeah.
And I can remember in the early 90s that there were things that happened that made it so that those smaller tag banger gangs had to become part of that neighborhood or had to actually become a gang. And I don't think tag banging is such a thing these days. It definitely exists.
Right.
But it's not as big as it was in the early 90s.
Got it.
And that's because other people at the end of the line, they depict what you can and can't do.
Okay, Arma Sour Grapes. There you go. Hey, what is your thought on Banksy?
Cool for him.
What is your thought on Shepard Perry?
I don't wear Obey shirts.
I love it. You got any?
But he's cool. He's like, he's a cool dude. Like whenever I've met him, he's always been respectful and like been like, oh, like if I went to a show or whatever, he was like, hey, what's up, man? Cool. I've never seen Banksy before, but I've heard that he was a fan of CBS. From some of my crew members who correspond with him. Mona
Lisa, masterpiece or overhyped piece of shit? The actual painting.
Oh, I would never diss Mona Lisa. It's one of my son's favorite pieces. My older son is really into all the masters, or was when he was younger.
Really?
And Mona Lisa was one of his favorites.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to go see it yet?
The Mona Lisa, I don't think so.
In the Louvre?
No.
Okay.
In the Louvre.
In the Louvre. So why don't you go back to your spray paint and make it your art? What else, Steve? Where are we at? He's got to go.
No. I was saying I was going to stand up because I was going to drive.
I got
and
it.
I already started to feel the.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going
You get older. That's right. You got to let the blood
going.
Get
yeah.
the blood flowing.
Yep.
What happened? What was going on, bro? You were getting into some trouble.
I was getting into trouble, and some days I feel like I want to get into more trouble.
Right.
But I hold back on it. I hold back on it.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, I think Steve is talking about a situation that happened in probably 1992, summertime. In those years, I was definitely doing, I was smoking, I was drinking,
Yeah.
and I was doing hallucinogenics.
Yeah. What kind?
Some acids, some shrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
I love shrooms.
yeah.
I probably, looking back on it, should have not been doing them.
Oh.
I'm probably looking back on it, my mind was not sorted correctly. There wasn't my files were not all correctly in tow, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely had like some weird trips at times,
Some dark trips.
some dark ones.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
And I got through them, but this one time we me and my buddy Mir and Link, we went and got some acid down at Venice Beach. We're from Hollywood, so we rode our bikes. We scored some acid. We started riding our bikes up PCH and started having a bad trip right around then. And nice. Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell us about the bad trip.
Basically, what happened was I ended up having a bad trip, and I ended up getting into a fight with an undercover cop.
Oh.
Sorry. I ended up getting into a fight with a cop that was trying to arrest me because I was acting like a lunatic. You know,
What does a lunatic act like? Tell us what you were doing, my friend.
a lunatic probably has his shirt off.
Yeah.
A lunatic might be sagging just a little bit.
Yeah.
A lunatic might be big and menacing.
Menacing.
A lunatic might have a distinct look in his eyes, a menacing look.
Menacing. Look at that smile. Look at that laugh. It's a menacing laugh, my
Right,
friend.
exactly. So I got into it with a bunch of motherfuckers. That's what ended up happening. I started looking at people, and I felt like everybody was mad dogging me. Everybody was against me more than they were for me, you know? And those things were there before that I had seen before where like I said, I shouldn't have probably been in that position, but I did. I did it. And so I ended up taking 5 hits. I ended up,
Yeah.
in a position where the cop was trying to arrest me.
Can you describe the experience of being arrested and on 5 hits of acid? To you, did it seem like the handcuffs were made out of rubber? I mean, what was it?
It's coming.
Oh, I love it. All right,
coming.
go ahead.
So this happened not at Sunset and PCH, but is it Entrada?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right there where all the volleyball courts
Yep,
are?
yep.
Yeah.
I really started having a bad trip going north at the Chart House.
Yeah.
That's when it went weird.
All right.
But it went weird right before that when we were sitting on the rocks where the path ends. We're smoking a joint, looking out into the ocean. Everything's chill. We just had a dope ride. Everything's good. We climb up the rocks, and there's a RV. And if you've done acid before, you know that things look more embellished.
Yeah.
And it caught my eye, and I was wondering why the RV is here. Why would somebody be living in this RV? It was like really tattered. It was really old. And I needed to explore.
Right.
So I jump, I walk into the RV, and my boys are telling me not to do it, but I walk in anyways. And
Yes.
I start looking around, and I get into the back of the RV, and the guys who living in the RV, he comes into the RV as I'm in there, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing in my house?" And I'm like, "What? Fuck, dude." Just, kind of, I think, jostle with him a little bit. You know what I mean? Get out of the RV, jump on our bikes. We cross across PCH. Traffic's fucking honking. People are fucking. We get across, start riding up to Chart House.
Yeah.
As I come up to Chart House, we, for some reason, we want to turn around and go back down south. When we do that, there's a German Shepherd tied up at the Chart House.
Yeah.
And the German Shepherd's like barking, and everything that had all just happened just jumbled up the mind at that time. And we start riding back down south. And then we get to a certain point where we're back on the path, the cement path, not the path of righteousness, definitely.
A path.
And, along the way, that's when I started to have more eye contact with people, and probably the menacing person that I looked like. That's why I was getting the weird looks, looking back on it, just thinking maybe. Anyways, there was an incident with a guy, and I think that dude pulled out a machete on me.
Okay.
And then, my boys were able to be like, dude, the homie's tripping. And then the next thing happened. Some dude looked at me, and I kicked his bike. And then that dude took off and went and got the cop. Cop rolls up, and he starts, he puts me up against the car, and he tells me, starts asking me questions. And I think I'm probably just off in La La Land. I'm, looking out into the water.
Yeah.
And I'm out there.
Yeah.
At some point, he realizes that I'm out there.
Right.
And he goes to grab me. When he grabs me, I shook. You know what I mean? And I just shook him off of me, and I start going, and we start going at it. Because he's trying to wrestle me, and I'm trying to not let him do what he wants me to do. And I feel the German Shepherd reminded me of Terminator. In Terminator. Remember when the shepherds, right?
Yeah.
The dogs bark because it's the Terminator. And so I almost had this feeling like I was almost like the Terminator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I could read into people's thoughts and feelings.
Right.
And that transitioned into when I started to go up with the cop, I felt like I could see his arm moving before it moved. And I was able to like almost be in the Matrix.
Right. Yeah. I love it.
And that led him even more so not to be able to arrest me, because he was able, I guess he took out his baton and he, tried to hit me with it, might have hit me and I blocked it, whatever it was.
It was like made out of
There
rubber.
was this guy Country. I don't know if you knew a Country at all.
Yeah,
Black dude.
Country, yeah. I
He
know.
was there.
Yeah.
So he
Jimmy.
told me Jimmy. He was there and he saw some of the shit and he was like, dude, you were in it, dude.
Yeah.
And so what my homies told me, what I can remember, everything from 92 until now, this is kind of like what I've brought together in my thoughts. What are they all perfectly online? Probably not. I was on 5 hits of acid, right? So it ends up that the cop basically pulls out his gun and he shoots me. He hit me. The first bullet went right here. Let's see, right next to my belly button.
He's showing his belly button. There's also scars.
And the second bullet, when I got hit right there, grabbed my stomach. It went through my arm right there.
Yeah.
Came back out and then went in right there.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
Anger's showing us multiple bullet scars in his stomach, and
And I can
he's doing belly,
Nice.
he's doing belly rolls now.
Nice, bro.
Some quarters on there. And
He's
make 'em roll.
doing belly rolls. He's pretty good.
All right,
Did you
so
learn that in India?
belly dancing.
that one.
How many shots?
Yeah,
Wait. Go back to what's it like to be shot on acid, man, with a gun?
it's coming.
We'll get there.
All right.
There's another one.
Shit.
Look at that.
And this is the third bullet and the last bullet, and that one hit me down. And
So 3.
it's 3 bullets. If I can remember, when I was waking up, I was face down, and I remember looking up in the I remember hearing helicopters. When I lifted up, I remember looking up and seeing I saw sand, blood, people, like just craziness around me.
Yeah.
Feeling like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. You know, it just felt like I was like I got come back, like I had come back from something. Like I feel like I was supposed to be gone that day, and I had like a bigger purpose in life.
Yeah.
And but I didn't know what it was at that time. And all I can remember is the feeling of being a fish out of water, but then somebody grabbing my arms again, because I'm laid down on my stomach, and I start to fight it again, and I believe I was able to fight it so much that they had to put the handcuffs on me here
In the front.
in the front. I think at that point I probably passed out again.
Okay.
Because the next one I remember is I was in the ambulance, and when you get shot, they put you in a pressure suit, right?
Right.
So it's like that. When they put the thing on your arm.
Like a tourniquet.
Yeah.
But a
and-
full body
but
tourniquet.
When they
full
do your
body
blood
one.
pressure. Yeah.
Exactly. So I remember waking up
Like a
in the-
mummy.
waking up in the. Sorry, I'm waking up in the ambulance. I look up, and I'm like, I just, bust up, like I bust out, and I guess I opened up the suit, and then the dude, I can remember his face. He looked like an older kind of chubby dude with like a walrus mustache.
Right.
And like, it might have been a grayish hair, I can't remember, but he was like, hey, he's like, you gotta, like, he was just like, you gotta chill, like, you gotta get down, and he pushed me back down. And that was it. Like, I passed out again, I think. Shit. I tell this story often, but I don't really, I just tell it as a matter of fact. I don't like go into the emotional aspect angle of it.
What gives it so much emotional charge for you?
I got to live 27 years.
Overwhelming gratitude.
Yeah, man, I got 2 fucking great kids. I got a great wife. I got to fucking live. I mean, that's just
Could have missed
basic.
all that.
Yeah, I could have missed
all that.
Could have just been that, it could have been something you never even met.
Because
In
you,
that sense.
the
Not
best-
you, but just anybody.
And
So-
how many people have died with less? Died because get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's incredible, bro. This guy that he's sitting here, man. I don't even know, bro.
Meaning that the best part of his life was able to happen because you didn't die, right?
Right.
That's
No
what
education. I was hearing the Floyd.
we're still got it going. I switched.
All right.
I switched to breathe just because I feel like that's better for the mood.
Breathe.
Okay, so you pass out again. Was the big chubby guy in the ambulance with the walrus mustache? Was that Big Tim?
I have no idea.
Okay,
No.
all right. Thank you.
Maybe. But I just remember like that, he just wanted me to, like, he's like, it's for the best of you, the best. Anyway, so let's see. I wake up I'm in UCLA hospital. I wake up and the nurse tells me that I've been shot and that I just went through surgery. I think I passed out again.
Yeah.
I think the next time I woke up, my mom was there. And I had long hair, kind of like yours. Probably even a little bit longer.
Okay.
Because I was Sikh. So I used to wear my stuff up in the turban.
Right.
At my longest, my hair was down to below my ass.
Okay.
You know, I'm probably at this point a little shorter, got ponytail up to here, but still big mane, kind of like an Aussie fucking fro mane.
Yeah.
So my mom was there. She was cleaning my hair. She was giving me a bath. I was...
Just like when you were a baby.
Yeah, weird. It was like a weird... it was a weird whirlwind of a situation. Do I remember too much from UCLA? Not too much. Other than that, they took me to the county hospital from UCLA because I was convicted of a crime.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or multiple crimes. They put me up into the 17th floor?
Yeah, you were in the
18th?
hospital. You went to
Whatever
the hospital
is
ward.
that, like
Yeah,
the top floor, right?
yeah, 17.
Yeah. So I went up there. I was there for 2 weeks recovering. This thing was probably that big,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It was like, it feels weird having to, because I had to end up cleaning it. Like the nurses were cleaning it, taking care of it.
Just so Mr. and Mrs. Earbuds know, Anger's talking about the surgery scar
Yes, sir.
wound that went down the front. That he looks a little bit like that split top bread with they put the butter on.
It's called the LA Zipper.
Yep,
It's a LA Zipper.
Yep.
I have many brothers and a
yeah.
lot of brothers. I don't know how many sisters, but a lot of brothers in
They used to
LA
call it a
have this.
California zipper too.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. So I'm there for a few weeks. I mean, had to learn how to taking a shit was like a big deal, because they gave me some lax. I hadn't shit in like maybe a week or week and a half, something like that. They gave me something to help me, and I remember, sitting there. I'm just waiting, and then all of a sudden I'm like, rah! And I remember like the brothers fucking, whoever it was that was in there, they were like, hey dude, come on. Everybody got up, helped me get over to the toilet, and just taking the biggest fucking camote I've ever fucking taken, dude.
Was it a relief?
It was everything. It was, I don't know.
Let me ask you something.
Dude.
You got shot with a 9mm,
Yes, sir.
and what did it break any bones?
No.
Really?
No.
Man, because those are 2 shots straight in his gut.
Yeah. Did they take out any portion of your intestine?
Yeah. I have different parts of my intestine that are taken out. I think it's my large intestine. Up until, what was this, 2000, maybe 2010, 2009, sometime around there, I always had a shooting pain when I would bend over. And they found a piece of shrapnel left in there, and it was sticking up that way, so I couldn't, I wouldn't.
Right. It was starting to surface.
Yeah, I got it at home. They took it out.
You got it at home?
Yeah, I think it's this is a drainage scar. I think it's down here. Yeah, there it is. Somewhere down there, there's a little scar where they took it out.
Brother.
So,
Anyways.
We get sometimes lose a little bit of sight. Sight or depth on, I don't know our perception of this stuff, because we've had different people in here that have been shot multiple times, I think. But when a cop's standing in front of you and unloads his 9mm, puts 3 in you in front of him, ain't from down the street, bro. He's like right in front of you.
Oh,
Right, point blank.
It gets better.
That's motherfucking, and you're still around to talk about it. You just ain't a lot of people around to talk about it.
So worlds collide, right?
Okay.
Worlds collide. I go down to USC. I'm there for a few weeks as they're trying to ship me down to county men's jail.
Yeah.
They're lining me up. So I'm holding on to
Yeah, your little wheel thing, right? Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I'm holding on to that, and I'm walking, and I'm like, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to clean your own shit, and then all the homies are like, dude, it's all dirty there, it's gonna get all infected and shit, and I'm like, oh fuck, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm looking down or at the wall, I'm looking at graffiti and shit like that, and I see Chaka up. And Chaka at that time, was he's a LA bomber, and I had met that kid in the streets, and I was like, oh, that's fresh, it's a fucking Chaka tag, whatever, right? And then they're like, all right, White Crow, get up. I'm like, all right, I'm getting up, I'm getting out to go in line, and then another sergeant calls me or whatever, officer, and he's like, hey, White Crow, come on, let's go. And at the time I was dating this girl named Katja, and Katja was, her dad was an executive at Universal, and they knew a lot of people. They had a lot of good friends.
Clout.
When I got shot, my girlfriend Katja, she had went to Crossroads High School in Santa Monica. Santa Monica. And she was on she was graduating, so she was going on a vision quest. That's what they did, because they were kind of that type of school, right?
Okay.
And she was out in the mountains up in Santa Barbara somewhere going on this vision quest,
Right.
while I was getting shot down in LA.
Right.
So she comes back, and they rally with my mom, and they have a prayer session with my mom, and all my friends came there, prayed for me and all that shit. And, probably a large reason why I'm here is because I had a great support system, people that loved me, people that wanted to invest their time into me, right? So I end up being let out of jail, and then my lawyer was Peter Ross, and Peter Ross was a kick-ass attorney, and Peter Ross basically knew everybody at the Santa Monica courts,
Right.
and I guess if you know people, you can get things done. And
Right.
Peter Ross was able to get things done. He was able to talk to the judge. The judge was able to see, like, people love you. You know what I mean? And,
Right.
and that's
Yeah,
what
you
the
got
judge said to
people.
me. The judge was like, hey, I'm going to give you 500 hours community service. He's like, I'm not going to send you to jail because you got good support system. You already almost paid for all your crimes with your life.
Right.
He's like, your community service is going to be working with the cops. So I ended up, they took me down. I went down to Alvarado and Beverly. There's Lake Street. Lake Street, right over there, there's a little substation. It's like a fire department where the fire...
It's not far from the Mayfair Hotel, actually.
Right. It's down in that area.
Okay.
And I ended up rolling in there, you know what I mean? And I was like, hey, I'm here to, do my community service. I consider myself to be a jovial, happy dude, and I get along with people, and I'm able to create conversation, and that's what ended up happening there. It's just like I realized that cops were just regular old dudes.
Right.
Not that bad.
People too.
That the NWA song was kind of had their reason, but
Right.
That's not my reason. And these cops were hella cool. They would let me come in, work for 2 hours, 3 hours. They were like, hey, White Crow, don't sweat too much. Come up, have some coffee, hang out, invite me on bike rides. You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, why are you guys so nice to me? I was like, dude, look what happened. Look at my charge. You guys don't have to be nice to me. And they're like, yeah, but like, you're okay though. You survived it, and you're here, and you know what I mean? And like, we're not going to be mean to you because you got into a situation you were on drugs, right? And they're like, yeah, I was on drugs. We're like, cool, whatever.
Right.
Why are you sweating us? And I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know. I'm used to like not getting as much love from you guys. Dude.
Right.
And they're just like, yeah, but that's not everybody. All of us aren't bad guys. You know what I mean? A lot of guys, we're just trying to make money, and we're just trying to fucking...
Everyone's just trying to make their way in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I ended up... the weirdest thing now, today, if you go to my house and you walk out of my house, directly across the street is Tony, and he's a motorcycle cop. Metal dude. Loves fucking metal. We get along fucking great. Has tattoos all over. Super chill. He knows about my graffiti. Doesn't fucking care. He's like, oh, whatever.
Right.
Right up the street, another cop, Down the street was Maria, who her daughter picks up my kids and takes them wherever they need to go to. I go to cop parties. I hang out with sheriffs.
Sounds
and
like
they're
Lang-
like,
sounds
and
like
I walk
Lancaster.
and I walk in with a graffiti shirt on, and like they're like, and I just crack them. I just crack them, and I'm just like, I just act normal to them, and they don't sweat.
Right.
And I think it's really how you interact with people that is going to make your path an easier path in this world, And so like today, like when, I'm sorry, but everybody's yelling ACAB, but they didn't even put in no work for ACAB. You know what I mean? It's just a slogan that they wear a shirt of. It's just a saying that they write on the wall. But ACAB is actually when you go at the police and assault them and fucking take them down. To me, that's ACAB.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the strict saying by itself is like, all cops are bastards. Can we say some? You know what I mean? Can we change it a little bit?
Clearly, it's never going to be 100%.
Right.
Any more than any other race or group or club is 100% all one thing, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's a weird life is what I'm saying. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share my emotions with you guys here.
We love it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Man, you really,
not that I need to jam out. I'm just saying, like, I appreciate you guys.
I really, really, bro. It says a lot about who you are, but watching you tell us a story, man, and let your guard down and really let the listeners and us hear your story, man. It's
sacred.
Like, it is, bro. That is sacred, bro. That's
you.
not something we do a lot of shows, and I love having great shows, and shows are just the person's journey, man. And the more that they can let down their guard in your situation, this is a life. This is like a close to death outer body experience, thing, bro. This is like you almost aren't here.
Yeah.
So I know that there's got to be so much in that. And I also feel like it's important, man. There's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of value in you.
Thank you.
Obviously, there's a lot of value in that experience. And hopefully, a little bit of what we say here, maybe there's some people that don't have to get shot to realize, there's a big life. And we just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what life looks like. We got to show up, man. You've been showing up, bro.
You know what, man?
Don't kill the wrong guy. Don't get the wrong guy killed.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
I'm listening to this story, and I'm listening to Steve, and I try to understand what Sean says. And I also listen to all the other people that have come through here, and I think about what the show is. And I think about what it is that we're trying to do and our lack of production meetings and all that shit.
Yes.
And I feel like Anger's story, what he's just presented to us, is so much bigger than like a principle that you can pull from it. Because like every time you pull a principle from that story, from Anger's story especially, it almost reduces the fact that life is a chaos. I mean, it's bigger than all of the wisdom principles. The wisdom principles aren't necessarily wrong,
Right.
but they're a rule of thumb that apply in general situations. But life's always going to throw us things that are beyond that. And I want to say that Anger, a lot of times he was saying, when the emotion started to well up in Anger in his story was when he was talking about feeling like a fish out of water.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? And, and that it sounds simple, and I know everyone's like, I already know this, but you think about fishes, their natural environment is the water. So when they're pulled out of it, they're in another world and they feel like they're suffocating. And he's saying, I'm feeling like a fish out of water. Everyone's kind of like against me. I feel like I might depart this world at this point in time, which eventually, that's what fish out of water do. They die. If they're out of that water long enough, they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And he got emotional because he got pulled back into the water. And I was thinking about, Anger before he was called Anger, and, having to be moved out of his toddler environment, moved into New Mexico. There he's a fish out of water. And then I don't know exactly what happens in New Mexico, but before he can get fully accustomed to that, he's in India. And maybe there he's a fish out of water again. So I'm thinking about what Anger's telling us towards the end here, where he's starting to feel like, I don't know if I can judge any group 100%, and I don't know if anyone else should too, because I entered the world of the police through a back door, and I found out that they're people too. And for a minute, I was a fish out of water there as well. And so I think about that, and I think, you know, it's so sacred to me, the way Anger's story came out, that I don't want to put too much of what you need to take away from this, other than the listener should experience this and just allow whatever arises in them to come to them and have it mean that. You know, that was a real story.
That was a real journey.
Yeah.
I think you definitely hold the record on racking up the most mileage on a young kid under the age of 15.
In terms of like all the experiences.
Places he went.
Yeah, and I've got it.
Alaska to what? New Mexico?
Yeah.
To New Mexico,
To India.
India.
back to New Mexico, LA.
You know, India?
Yeah, and I got to tell you.
Preteen India?
I mean, I was in India when I was 14 with my dad.
Okay.
And it wasn't the same situation.
Did you have to live there in a boarding home?
Oh, no, absolutely
Okay.
not. But I was in Missouri.
All right.
Still.
Right.
And I ate with.
Weird.
Imagine if your dad would have just taken you to some place and been like, you ate here, and taken off and left you there for 4 years.
My mom did do that.
No, in India.
No,
That
listen to what I'm saying. Missouri, when I was in Missouri, I had dinner. Now, my dad was fucked up in a lot of ways, but my dad was also cool in a lot of ways. Somehow that guy had the fucking wherewithal to figure out who were Tibetan soldiers who escorted the Dalai Lama out of Tibet.
Right.
And he found them in Missouri. Missouri is a place also
That's badass.
in India where the exiles of it's one of the places where some of the exiles from Tibet settled. Okay, so when China started taking over Tibet, they wanted to get their hands on the Dalai Lama, right? And the Dalai Lama was escorted out. So we were sitting there having these noodles on the floor with old Tibetan soldiers who were telling the story. And the crazy part is, and they had fake Dalai Lamas going in different directions.
Really?
Oh, shit.
I swear to God. And at that time, the Chinese had like military artillery. The Tibetan soldiers were still on horseback. And so they were escorting the Dalai Lama out, and they were seeing these huge artillery explosions near them. They didn't know what they were. The Tibetan soldiers had never seen that before. They thought it was magic. Yeah, that's what he told me. He's like, we had no idea what that was until they got him out of that and into India. And then eventually Nepal and all those other places. But that's the experience I was having in Missouri, probably near a time when you were there.
In the 80s?
Yeah.
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 Nice. Yeah, I was there from 81 to 85, I think.
Actually, I probably was there, I want to say like 89-ish. So I was there after you. But it's just amazing because how many people have been to Missouri or know what the fuck that is?
It's crazy that you guys hit on that. And with that, it is about that
What time is that, my friend?
time to say thank you to Anger for driving out, man, sharing your story, sharing, letting your guard down and letting us in.
Word up.
Brother. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it,
Where
man.
can we find you on Instagram? People want to follow your art.
AKA White Crow.
AKA White Crow.
Yep.
AKA White Crow.
CBS.
Yes, sir.
Let's keep an eye on this guy, you guys. Give him a follow.
Word up.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank
Have a good
you, my
one.
man. Yeah. Adios, amigo.